This is what I mean when I say you need to do things sustainably and rewire your brain to stop binge eating. And it's not even like you need to do things sustainably. What I know that you want and what I know that you're ready for is you want to do things sustainably. You don't want another quick fix. You don't want to have a few, binge-free days here or there and then revert back to old habits. You don't want to be binge-free for a month and then revert back to old habits. Like you want to sustainably end your binge eating for good. But when I say that you need to do things sustainably, do not confuse that with believing that results are going to take a long time. I think that is a big misconception. Well, if I do things sustainably, then I'm going to get to my goal so much slower, or it's going to take such a long time. And that's not true, right? I know that you most likely are very used to quick fix diets, right? Like I know I did literally so many different diets and like results can happen super fast, right? But you don't want that. You don't want results in 8 weeks and then, like I said, revert back to old habits. Like you're done with that. What you want is sustainability. What you want is consistency. You want to consistently feel good in your own skin. You want to nourish your body consistently, not just, okay, do well during the day and then binge at night. Not, I'm going to do well Monday to Friday and then just like binge on the weekends. You want to move your body consistently. Not, okay, I'm going to be consistent with movement. I'm going to go balls to the wall for, 4 weeks and then never work out. Like you're craving consistency. You want to enjoy your favorite foods in moderation consistently, not just, oh, I had 1 week of no binges and then followed by a week of binging. You are looking for results that last a long time because you've been on this path of yo-yo dieting for so long. So if you want sustainable results, then that means that the approach that you need to be using to stop your binge eating can't also be a quick fix. Like if you're looking for quick fix results, then you can use a quick fix approach. But if you want long-term sustainable results, meaning you want to end your binge eating for good, you never want to binge again, you don't want to have any more urges, you don't want to have to weigh, track, or measure your food ever again, you want to feel good in your own skin consistently without having to go on another diet, you can't be using a quick fix tactic to try to get sustainable results because it doesn't work. So you can't be using quick fix tactics like distracting yourself or staying busy, going to bed earlier, drinking water and tea when you feel the urge to binge, or even keeping trigger foods out of your house because all of those things are quick fixes. And number one, none of those things are going to actually get rid of your urges. It's really just like this quick fix Band-Aid solution where sure, maybe you are like really busy at work and you literally just can't binge because you don't even have a 5-minute break. You're just like back-to-back meetings or you have a lot of things on your plate so you just physically can't binge. But that doesn't prevent you from coming home after work and binging. Or if that doesn't prevent you from binging on Saturday after a really long work week. And even with keeping, chocolate out of the house or whatever, sugar foods out of the house, that doesn't prevent you from binging. Like if you don't have the certain foods in the house, if you don't have ice cream in the house, you're not going to be able to binge on ice cream. But that doesn't prevent you from literally going to the store and buying it. I know I've done that. One of my trigger foods was protein bars. And I'm like, I'm never going to buy protein bars. And when I didn't have them in the house, sure, I technically, didn't binge on protein bars, but I binge on other things. And also I would literally drive to the store to pick up protein bars and just binge on them. And when I picked the protein bars up, I wouldn't just pick up one and just eat it in moderation and with full control. It was like, I have not had this in a long time. And there was so much scarcity. I literally would have multiple protein bars at once. So the first reason why you can't be using those quick fix solutions, like I said, it doesn't actually prevent you from continuing to binge. But also number two, if you've been dieting and binging since you were 7 years old, None of those things, distracting yourself, staying busy, those aren't going to stop you from binging. Like, you can't just tell yourself, okay, just don't binge. Like, how many times have you told yourself, don't do it? I used to tell myself all the time, tonight, I'm not going to binge, as if like telling yourself to not binge is going to be the thing that stops you. But you can't think your way out of a binge. You can't just say, don't binge tonight, and then you just magically don't binge. Again, maybe you tell yourself, don't binge, and then you maybe, like I said, got lucky, you were really busy at work, or you distracted yourself, or maybe you went to bed early, but it's not a sustainable solution. You need to actually get to the root of your binge eating and understand why you feel this need to go into the pantry and continue eating when you know you're literally so full and you're even satisfied. You need to understand why that's happening, because it doesn't happen probably to your partner, probably doesn't happen to your friends. Why is it happening to you? And when I say you need to get to the root of your binge eating, I don't mean go back to your childhood and work through trauma. I'm not talking about that. I mean understanding what your food rules are, what food rules you're holding on to. I mean, you need to get to the root of your binge eating and get out of this all or nothing mentality. You got to release your tight grip of control, because all of those things are actually creating strong urges to binge, what makes it feel impossible for you to not give into your urges. And the more times you give into your urges, the further this habit gets ingrained into your brain, which needs to be reprogrammed, which needs rewiring if you want to sustainably get rid of your urges and sustainably end binge eating for good. So the approach that you need to use if you want to sustainably end binge eating also needs to be sustainable, like my root and rewire process that I walk my clients through. So you can sustainably get to the root of your binge eating and rewire your brain out of these habitual cycles. But it does not mean you won't see progress for a long time. This is where people get tripped up. If I do things sustainably, I won't see results for a long time. No, you're going to see results. You're going to have less urges. You're going to be able to, have dinner and just stop when you're full. You're going to be able to actually have some chocolate without feeling guilty. Like, that will happen. It doesn't have to take a long time when you do things sustainably. What I mean by you need to do things sustainably is you need an approach that is going to sustainably get rid of your binge urges for good. Not, okay, well, I'm just going to try brushing my teeth. That's not going to end your binge eating for 20 years. That's going to end your binge eating maybe for one night, right? So it's going to take time, of course, to stop binge eating, and it 100% requires work. But it doesn't mean you're not going to see results quick. You can literally start feeling less impulsive with food, like within a few weeks. You can be home alone and have no desire to binge. You can be confident with your food choices. Get your hunger and fullness cues back. And again, I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but what I'm also not saying is it's not going to take years. Don't confuse, if I do things sustainably, it's going to take a long time. That's not true. When you do things sustainably, you're going to stop your binge eating for good. People ask me all the time, Lorna, do you ever think that you're going to binge again? And I so confidently, I'm like, no, there's not even a doubt in my mind, because I sustainably got rid of my urges. I didn't just go to bed early every single night and like brush my teeth, and every time I felt the urge to binge, just like try to stay busy. That won't last. I tried that. In 2018, I tried that, and I had a few binge-free days. I actually even had a few binge-free weeks. But it was always binge-free days followed by binge-free days. Binge days. Binge-free weeks followed by binge weeks. It was never consistent. It was never sustainable, because I didn't get rid of my urges. I was just relying on distracting myself and staying busy and, literally trying to keep trigger foods out of the house. When you do things sustainably, you learn how to make peace with food. You build up trust around trigger foods. You don't have to worry if you're ever going to binge again. Do you see the difference? Somebody who's relying on these quick fix tactics, I'm just going to not have sweets in the house, they're going to have binge-free days followed by binge days. Because the moment that they bring it in the house, they're going to binge. The moment that they go to a social event, they're going to binge. Why? Because they haven't sustainably made peace with that food. It's just like, I want to try avoiding it. I know I have to make peace with those foods, but it's scary, so I'm just not going to do it. And then they continue to binge. Versus someone like you're like, I am done with quick fixes. I want to end my binge eating and end it for good. I want to eat normally. I never want to have to weigh my food ever again. I just want to eat like a normal person. I want to eat when I'm hungry, stop when I'm full. I don't want to have to worry about binging ever again. You're exhausted trying to distract yourself. You're exhausted trying to promise yourself that you're not going to binge. You're exhausted with that. And you want a better solution. And you know that distracting yourself isn't going to stop your binge eating, but it might be the only thing that you know how to do right now. So you just keep doing it. And don't get me wrong, it is better to use some of these quick fix tactics to not give in, but there's a better way, right? Like, you can keep distracting yourself for the rest of your life, or you can learn how to get rid of your urges so that you no longer feel the urge to binge. So you can be home alone. You can have chocolate in the house. You can go on vacation. You can literally be surrounded by all the delicious foods and not have the desire to binge. That is true freedom. That is what I experience. That is what you can experience. That's what my clients experience through the process that I teach, my root and rewire process. Let's get to the root of your binge eating. Let's rewire your brain out of these habitual cycles. Let's get rid of that urge so you don't have to try to distract yourself and stay busy. Just imagine never feeling that urge to binge ever again. Imagine not having to worry about like being on high alert all the time. Like, am I going to binge today? You confidently know you're never going to binge because you did things sustainably the first time. This is what I mean. Results don't have to take a long time. They don't have to take a long time, but they will last a long time. And that is what I mean by learning how to sustainably end your binge eating for good.